go straight to the show start. The usual roll call of wrestlers, including Sami Zayn and Trick Williams and Oscar and Io Sky and Danhausen in his little car and Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns. But Roman Reigns wasn't the one who was doing like the walk toward the camera like everybody else was. He was just being filmed while going over his match in the empty arena with the producer. Anyway, video hype package. Somebody's in the intro and outro to this has accompanied the noise with a Geiger counter noise for whatever reason. But anyway, Seth Rollins versus Bron Breakker is the opening match. Should have happened at WrestleMania, but there you go. Anyway, Seth starts off hot. Bron Breakker eventually stops playing along and looks the way more dangerous of the two. I am a big, big fan of Bron Breakker, by the way, if you couldn't guess by now. Wade Barrett on commentary mentions that Bron was injured as well as Seth Rollins, which makes me question if they've ever mentioned on television what Bron's injury was. It was a hernia, but they're kind of acting or being secretive like it was a concussion for some reason. Anyway, Bron Breakker's got a rear chin lock. Bron is calling Seth Rollins a self-centered piece of trash so that, the microphone could pick him up. And you know what? Like, while he's doing, nothing's a rest hold here. Everyone's, really working for it and not just, catching the breath kind of thing. The catching of breath will be Danhausen later. But anyway, it's really heartwarming to hear that the WWE crowd, instead of actually kind of just sitting on their hands, like watching a rear naked chin lock or whatever it might be, they're really rallying for Seth to make a comeback at that point and get the advantage. Which is just... It's one of those things where, that has come back over the past few years in WWE, where rest holds were just something for people to be absolutely silent for a very long time. There's a bit where Bron is doing a running back and forth clothesline, and you can only see this, actually. I don't know if this is a fan cam that I saw, but on the first duck... Seth just doesn't duck and Bron just punches him in the forehead. But Seth punches Bron in the forehead, but Bron's going so fast it doesn't really faze me. He runs through it. Bron nearly loses the first Frankensteiner attempt as Seth didn't go quickly enough. Not that obvious, but the fans totally spotted it. Then Seth misses a super kick while Bron is trying to hit the spear from the outside. I mean, it is a really good match, of course. But there were quite a few mistakes in it as well, which, of course, I'm always going to point out, because why not? Both beat the count. Bron is trying to hit the spear on the outside. Both beat the count at 9 when they're outside, get back in the ring. Bron catches the curb stomp straight to a military press. There's a bit where Seth can't backflip through a Bron clothesline, and then they collapse to the floor. They're trying to do a Will Ospreay kind of thing, where it's almost like you get him in a rock bottom position, then you sort of backflip over it and then DDT or whatever through. But anyway, there's like a bit where they can't figure out what to do, and they both collapse to the floor for a bit, and then they just talking back and forth really loudly to figure out what to do. And what ends up being done is a 10 punch in the corner into a buckle bomb. And then Bron just hits a clothesline for a double down. Jumping clothesline from the apron to the table on Seth, and they get tangled up in wires. Seth hits a suplex. And then another thing that's kind of just stands out is that Bron is the one who takes the suplex, but then immediately, without breaking the position, goes straight into a Falcon Arrow, which is obviously what Seth does. But Seth then gets... This is another interesting bit. Seth gets hit with a second Frankensteiner, and then Bron goes straight for a third. Of which Seth reverses the third one. The third one being where he sort of flips over, lands on his feet. But what actually happens is that Seth's ankles on the second Frankensteiner get caught up on the top turnbuckle when he's trying to do a front flip. So that's why they ended up just going straight for a third one at that point. Anyway, Seth grabs a chair. The Vision run in. Seth runs them off. Bron hits a spear on Seth, but it wasn't a great spear, and Seth kicks out. And then Seth counters another spear into a pedigree and attempts a curb stomp from the second, but Bron spears again, hits the running spear for the win. Now, thankfully, the ads have mostly been cut out of my feed anyway, so all I can tell you is that they didn't seem anywhere near as bad as they normally were. Not that they're not always cut out from the feed anyway, but they just didn't seem as obtrusive. Anyway, Club WWE ad as well, which we're probably going to talk about in a little bit, but we go straight to Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams. God, that feud's weird. Hopefully it's done by now, but Sami has done nothing to get booed, realistically speaking, and he at some point maybe the booing because they unstitched his Fred Perry logo from the front of his jacket, but Michael Cole pegs Sami as a bitter and jaded grizzled veteran who's running out of time to win a world title. Kathy Kelly then is interviewing Trick Williams backstage, like a pre-match promo. How weird is that? Because they used to do them all the time. I've not seen one, unless I'm probably forgetting one or two. But they don't really do them anymore. And I really like the pre-match interview just before you go out there. Anyway, they don't do it anywhere near as much as they used to, which is a shame, but I'm glad to see it on here. Another thing that's good as well is that they haven't done the dark lighting and the super mega introductions for the US title. That should really be reserved for world titles, in my opinion. Also, they don't really mention much regarding the Gingerbread Man stuff, aside from briefly in the show open, at least on my feed. Anyway, as for the match itself, it's just kind of there, really, as a match. The Gingerbread Man stuff has really been, calling it charitably, a bit weird, and the funeral for SmackDown was awful. Fans are booing Sammy, of course, on the basis that they are. And that's kind of part of the problem, really, because Sammy's not an out-and-out heel, and Trick is kind of the heel, but fans kind of like him. It's a bit muddled, this one. I'm not quite sure fans are really that invested. I'm certainly not. Anyway, the near-fall finishes when Lil Yachty hits Sammy with the sugar cane kendo stick, and Trick badly misses a spinning kick, but that only gets a 2. Sammy then goes for the haluva kick and misses, and then Trick lands a trick shot for the win. More ads. Now they're just getting random fans to hold up signs for insurance companies now as well, like printed off like an old printer rather than like nice poster board. Anyway, the next match is the one that we're all going to be talking about here for a while. It is Kit Wilson and The Miz versus Danhausen and a mystery partner. Now, they do a really good pre-match promotional video to build up to everything, which does remind us that it was, in fact, Nick Aldis who introduced Danhausen to the Miz originally, so in a way, he's kind of to blame for all this. Anyway, the heels made their entrance. Danhausen then makes his entrance in his little car and completely blocks the aisleway with it, which I'm kind of wondering if he meant to do that or not. He probably did. Anyway, he goes to the clone machine, which is that box from Elimination Chamber that Danhausen debuted out of, but with a glowing window in it now that has been introduced, and that was introduced on SmackDown on Friday. And from the cloning machine, a midget dressed as Danhausen walks out, and Danhausen goes, "Ah, shit!" But they kind of, like, he's not actually that mic'd up, but it gets picked up. Anyway, he comes out, and it's Minihausen and Danhausen. Now, at this point, the crowd boo quite mightily on this one, because this is the second person who's come out of a box who they were absolutely not hoping it was going to be. The internet has been abuzz, as I'm sure you'll know, the last couple of weeks of who this mystery partner could be, and wrestling fans love a mystery, and everybody was guessing. Weirdly, the last mystery, apart from the John Cena announcement, was the Elimination Chamber box mystery, which ended up being Danhausen, and everybody sort of built up in their minds they thought it was going to be Jericho coming out, and that got booed as well at the time, kind of like this. So it wasn't actually Danhausen's friend CM Punk, which I guess would have been kind of weird to not advertise CM Punk on a major show like this, since he's just about WWE's biggest regular draw. And he wasn't Mr. Iguana, which was my guess, or Joe Hendry, or Stephen A. Smith, or the most worrying theory of all was Jelly Roll. He was considered, actually, because it was originally meant to be Jelly Roll and Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton and Pat McAfee. There was the original planned main event at Backlash. And because Randy Orton may well be injured, Cody Rhodes is recovering from an eye injury, Pat McAfee has quit, Jelly Roll out of the four was the only one still available at that time and had been training for a match. So the theory was going to be, well, he's been training for a match all this time, why don't we just get him out there to do something else? But they thought best of it. Anyway, Minihausen is actually Mascarita Dorada, who's a really good mini worker, and he was also El Torito, if you remember that, the little bull, who was the manager or the mascot, or whatever you want to say, who bounced on the trampoline for Los Matadores. Anyway, I'm sitting around while watching this, waiting for someone good to come out, because I thought, well, this is just kind of a bait and switch kind of thing. But no, it is actually going to be Minihausen and Danhausen, and the fans start picking up on that, and then they're really not happy at the beginning. But, would Jelly Roll have been worse? My suggestion is yes, that would have been worse. Anyway, Kit strikes Minihausen, but he's actually a Luchahausen, and he runs wild on both The Miz and Kit for an extended period of time. Michael Cole then does the fake laugh thing like that Vince McMahon used to do, which is maybe the only thing that could derail Danhausen's character or popularity, because it has Michael Cole's seal of approval on it. Anyway, Luchahausen does start winning the crowd over because he's actually really good, but I think the crowd set themselves up, and I think we all set ourselves up for kind of a big disappointment here, so hard work at this point was really required, and hard work is what everybody got. Luchahausen does genuinely start winning the crowd over. The bad guys eventually get the advantage, and Miz finally has someone he can do Goldberg-style military press slam to power slam moves and all that kind of thing. Kit Wilson does the same thing. Danhausen at some point is knocked off the ring apron and then spends like 2 minutes getting back up. Luchahausen makes his own comeback. So Danhausen doesn't even interfere. Luchahausen just makes his own comeback and then tags in Danhausen. Danhausen then does the clotheslines to the corners back and forth on Kit and Miz, and then he tires himself out immediately, and then he rallies again from the crowd cheering for him, but then he tags back in Minihausen, and he double tope's the bad guys to the outside. So Mini then runs off Kit, but Kit throws Danhausen back into the... Kit throws Minihausen, I should say, I think I'm right in saying, into the cloning box, and out comes lots of Minihausens. It's the same group of guys from WrestleMania with the Danhausen segment with The Miz and John Cena, and they all attack Kit in the aisleway, while the ref does absolutely nothing about it. I honestly thought that Danhausen's cloning machine that didn't work the first time, I thought it was going to work somehow this time, or maybe we were going to have like a really fat Danhausen, like a huge Danhausen, come out the next time, like Jelly Roll. I actually thought it might have been Jelly Roll coming out there, but alas, it was not to be. Anyway, the Minis chase Kit back to the ring, and Minihausen does a wasteland on Kit, which is Wade Barrett's finisher. Wade Barrett is very angry about this, but then as Minihausen turns around to curse Kit, Kit holds up a mirror to deflect Minihausen's curse, and The Miz hits the skull-crushing finale on Minihausen for the near win, but Danhausen breaks it up. The fans actually gasped when Kit held up the mirror to deflect the curse. Also, this happens entirely off camera. You can just hear it on the commentary. One of the clone Minihausens sits on Wade Barrett's lap, and Wade is worried that the clones are going to chew through the wires like rabbits. Danhausen tags back in. The Miz has a fire extinguisher, but he is cursed, and he doesn't spray the midgets, but he kind of sprays himself, sort of. He actually kind of gets, I guess, cold feet, because he goes... then like sprays it in the air for several seconds, then kind of half looks at it again, and then he sprays Kit afterwards, who gets the full brunt of it. And then this is all happening in front of the referee, and the referee is kind of reminding me of, do you remember that judge who's like Kif from Futurama, who says, "I'm going to allow this"?
I'm going to allow this.
And allow this, the referee does. Danhausen hits a pump kick and wins. Hey, at least it wasn't Jelly Roll. Minihausen was the better choice. Wade decries, "Whatever happened to the industry I loved?" I've got to say that the power of Danhausen at this point, to not have this match completely shat on by the end of it by the crowd, is almost unbelievable how they not only got away with it, they actually got the crowd on side, because so much of this could have gone completely wrong. From the announcement of Minihausen, the crowd were against it, and they had to work so hard and everything go well for it to work out better. It's not like the crowd were ready to be charitable to it, like, you know, the Sami Zayn, Johnny Knoxville thing at WrestleMania or something. They really were not happy. They really wanted a good wrestler to come out. But it turns out they did get one. They just didn't get a name value wrestler. Anyway, this could have been a disaster, and it ended up being a pretty darn good match at the end of it, and a load of fun. Some people are going to absolutely hate it, of course, but this weird kind of, I don't know how it works, but somehow with Danhausen it works. Comedy wrestling is incredibly hard to do right, entertainingly, and I guess over the course of time as well, and keep on doing it. But yeah, at the end of it, Danhausen, Minihausen, and all the Minihausens are at the entranceway. The lights go dark, and then they all fail to disappear effectively, and then that's the end of that segment, of which we then go to Io Sky versus Asuka. The bitter feud between Asuka and Kairi Sane is now a long since distant memory. There were suggestions, rumours maybe, that Kairi Sane may have returned at the end of this match to kind of cost Asuka the bout, but no. That was not to be. No Kairi Sane was there, so I'll ruin that for you right now. Story going in, of course, is the former student versus the former domineering teacher, which is what was also what they were doing with Kairi for many months before they didn't pay it off. And the idea was that Kairi would eventually also break away from Asuka. Anyway, as far as the match goes, I'll just read a few notes for this. I won't bore you to death. Asuka grinds Io down for quite a few minutes in the opening. Nothing major really to report from it, other than that it's just a good, solid performance. And I like that when they attempt submissions, it actually looks like they vaguely could hurt, unlike so many people who can't make actual submissions look like they hurt at all. A really good-looking transition from an armbar into an Io chin grab as well that I want to make mention of. They go to the announce table, and I can't help but notice at that point that for some reason there are just a few dollar bills lying around on the announce table. I'm wondering if Wade Barrett is trying to flaunt his wad in front of Michael Cole, or if one of the Mini-Housens left a few bills there as a tip, I guess. Anyway, Io grabs Wade's notebook to block the green or blue mist, whatever it might be, and then they both just kind of stare at each other for a while on the table before continuing on. More submission work, and eventually an Asuka lock, which kind of, if you don't know what it looks like, it kind of looks like a Taz mission. It's kind of like a crossface chicken wing, although it's also like really, really illegal in pro wrestling to do that, you know, the forearm over the throat kind of thing, but it's one of those things where, whatever. I'm going to allow this. Anyway, Io in the end just hits all the moves, including the bullet train and the moonsault, for the cleanest of clean wins. Now, you might be wondering why the cleanest of clean wins for this one. Well, after the fact, a weirdly emotional Asuka gives a genuine hug to Io Sky after all their feuding. The reason is that behind the scenes, people were hugging Asuka all day and wishing her well, because apparently she is now going to be in semi-retirement. This is kind of the last of her full-time run with WWE. My speculation is that maybe Asuka was one of those high-priced wrestlers that TKO had offered one of the dreaded pay cuts to, and maybe this was their way of kind of making sure that everyone was happy, less work, and, you know, less work for less pay, essentially. I don't know. That's purely a guess on my part, but she fits the profile because apparently some of the people like the New Day, you know, not a tippy-top person, but someone who was established, getting paid really well, and creative for whatever reason, weren't doing too much with at that point, and they were either going to be cut or they have to take a 50% pay cut. And once again, this is entirely my guess that Asuka might have been one of them. Anyway, I think that's a big shame that Asuka is retiring, or semi-retiring, as it were, because I think for pure in-ring work on the women's division, Asuka has been just about the best woman on the roster for years, and WWE really didn't take full advantage as much as they could have done on that basis. But you know what? She's going to be 45 this year, and maybe it's just the right time for her as well. Best match of the night so far for me. Some people might say Braun, and some people might say Danhausen's match. I don't know. But for me, I like that one. Next up, John Cena's announcement. I talked about it on its own dedicated video yesterday, so I'm going to give you kind of the slimmed down version of my thoughts here. John Cena, who is now looking like a cross between Vince McMahon and Jim Varney, doesn't announce Club WWE nonsense like we kind of thought he was going to. He actually announces the John Cena Classic. Now, the John Cena Classic is going to be some sort of one-night event with an eventual John Cena Classic champion crowned, where wrestlers from WWE and NXT do battle, but the wins and losses don't matter because the winners will be decided by fan voting. Now, the many issues with this that I can foresee, aside from it was kind of a bit of a lame duck announcement, because no one really... Hey, the fans were cheering. So, you know, maybe it wasn't a lame duck announcement, but if you really kind of just sit back and think about it, here are some notes. What's the big impetus for anyone going for the win if it's just fan votes in the first place? What's the criteria for fan voting? How will the votes be cast? How will WWE charge the fans for voting? They love their money, so some have speculated that this somehow might be tied in with Club WWE trying to get people to sign up so they're eligible to vote. Club WWE members will be paying a fee to join their ticket pre-sale service, and also other quote-unquote benefits as well. Maybe this is one of the benefits, I don't know. Why would heels participate in this, considering it is a popular fan vote? Not one heel would join this, if it made sense, unless they were a delusional heel thinking that fans love them. How will WWE try and manipulate the votes? Because you know they will, to a point, try and pit one person against another that you think they can guess who will win out of that. What if somebody who WWE doesn't approve of ends up winning it all? Which they will, because it always happens. Is it a tournament or is it a bunch of matches? It wasn't really fleshed out at all. Is there an overall winner, or does every match get a winner? And then do all those winners compete together, or just have like another fan vote? I don't know. It's very confusing at this point. Wrestlers are trained, obviously, as well to plan matches in advance. So will there be a situation out there where, let's say if it's a tournament, for example, wrestlers win by being voted to win, so people aren't really going to be able to plan their matches in advance. So are they just going to wing it? I mean, a lot of WWE wrestlers these days can only do pre-planned matches and have got no, like, very little in the way of improvisational skills. So I don't know how that's going to work if it's a tournament format. Could more seasoned wrestlers, for example, also make themselves look better at the expense of the rookies? Because there are all these little tricks to make other people look bad, and the veterans are going to be way better at knowing these little tricks than the rookies, the NXT people. So, hey, that could happen as well. All that and more, as far as the details have yet to be announced. Neither has a date or what platform the show will be broadcast on. Will it be live? Will it be pre-recorded? Who knows? So we're left with many, many more questions than answers here. And then John Cena announces the main event, which is Jacob Fatu versus the champion Roman Reigns. So let me just say this. Jacob Fatu is such a megastar in the making. Felt that way. I felt that way the second he debuted. And he looked like he belonged from the absolute off. Crowd have been good all night, so it's a good crowd, definitely helping with the show. But they're really, really hot for the main event. Also, just to reiterate, Jacob Fatu just turned 34, and he has 7 kids. Story of this match is Jacob Fatu is working the Tongan Death Grip, which he's just started doing the last few weeks, and also he said in interviews, as a tribute to Haku, he will not be renaming it anything else. But also, because, Haku's kids from WWE, they're dropping like flies, as Bret Hart might say. Well, Talatonga's gone. Anyway, looks like Jacob is getting Haku's old finisher. So the other story is that Jacob, in the match anyway, could actually win the title, which is kind of obvious a story to tell. But nobody actually thought going in that Jacob was going to win this at all. So they had to work extra hard to give Jacob as much credibility against Roman Reigns, who's very much doing the whole invincible thing at the moment. Not quite to the Fiend level, but you know what I mean. Which they do admirably with Fatu. He's kicking out of one, eating up Roman, for considerable lengths of the match, which he does, and he's very believable. And I'll tell you what, the crowd is absolutely dead split 50-50 all the way through this as well. I'm not going to go through the whole match again, but Fatu is more on the case than Roman is, and then he gets a decided advantage when he power bombs Roman Reigns through the table. I'm not sure, maybe it's just me, I don't think I saw one Slim Jim table on this PLE, who knows, but they wash over me so much, maybe I miss one, I don't know. But anyway, then we get to the finisher kick-out portion of the match, which we always do. It's a WWE main event, why not? Fatu kicks out the spear, Reigns kicks out the moonsault. Fans actually boo this. Then some slugging out before Jacob hits the Tongan Death Grip again, because he keeps going for it. But Roman drives Fatu into the referee into the corner. Then Roman hits a few Superman punches and a spear on Fatu, and Fatu kicks out again. Finish is this. Jacob is back to the Tongan Death Grip, but Roman rips off the turnbuckle pad while fighting Jacob Fatu, so very much multitasking there. The referee then watches Roman throw Jacob into the exposed turnbuckle, hit a spear, and count to 3. Bit of a stupid finish, really, because the Tongan Death Grip hasn't even really been properly established as a finisher. I mean, he's only been doing it a few weeks, since WrestleMania 42, more or less. And he used it repeatedly in this match for absolutely no gain. Roman, it wasn't even like a mandible claw where it had like the paralyzing nature of it. Roman Reigns was bouncing all over the place trying to get out of it. Anyway, Roman wins. Jacob drops Roman immediately after the match to regain some heat, as well as a pop-up Samoan drop on the referee. Fatu then starts wiping out producers, including Adam Pearce. Keeps going back to the Death Grip on Roman. Then he poses as the show fades to black. Thank you, Paul Levesque and Lee Fitting. So, Jacob absolutely looked like a threat throughout the match. He totally looked like he belonged. I think, if there are any doubters, I'm not sure there were any, but if there are any doubters that Jacob Fatu is kind of the future of WWE in the next 5 years, that should definitely sort of quietened them as well because his star's only shining brighter. This match did a lot for him, even in a loss. Here's the thing, though, is that he was Roman Reigns' first challenger. And when you are the first challenger to any major title belt, you're going to lose. More than 9 times out of 10, you are going to lose on that one. So, hey, it's what it is. He was a filler challenger, essentially. Doesn't matter, his time will come in the future. Really, he wants to be the challenger at SummerSlam. Everybody knows that by now, I'm sure. I thought the finish was once again a bit crappy due to, once again, I hate all the finished kickouts as well. But, and the whole kind of rendering Jacob's tongue and death grip is ineffectual within weeks of him, dealing with, bringing it back to the fore, and then the referee staring at Roman Reigns throwing Jacob Fatu into the exposed turnbuckle, while the referee is holding the turnbuckle pad as well. It's once again, I've got to do it one more time.
I'm going to allow this.
I'm going to allow this. So anyway, all in all, but once again, it was still a really good match as well. They're nitpicks at the end, but all in all, a really good show. I think definitely worth your time, and it has my recommendation to watch. Only match I'd say is skippable is the Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams match, because the story going into it has been like painfully shit. Anyway, that's the review. I'm sticking to it, and I will probably see you tomorrow for another video.
This gas station food's gonna cause my... I've been working like a dog just to keep my family fed. Living off energy drinks and Marlboro Reds. For this gas station food's gonna cause my death.
What is this new blue-collar SpongeBob meme all about? In January 2025, TikToker Red River Redneck 1993 went viral with an original a cappella song about working-class life. It opened with the line,
"My collar's blue, but my neck is red. I've been working like a dog just to keep my family fed."
The video picked up more than 1.8 million views, his biggest post to date, and quickly got dubbed the Blue Collar Anthem. Fast forward to September, when a new version was uploaded with added instrumentals, giving the song a more polished feel and kickstarting the meme.
"Well, my collar's blue, but my neck is red. I've been working like a dog just to keep my family fed."
Comment sections immediately filled with AI-generated SpongeBob renders, showing him as a coal miner, construction worker, and grizzled factory hand. Soon after, TikToker Real Phantom compiled several of these images with the anthem under the caption, "MFs will get their first job at McDonald's and genuinely look at you like this when you ask if they can get on the game." That post went on to top 1.4 million views in days, cementing the joke. At its core, the meme is about exaggerating pride in small menial tasks, mowing the lawn,
Marathon is As of this video, I have 1,775 subscribers.
I want by this time next year, I want my channel to be big enough to make an impact. 3,000, 10,000,
25,000, 500,000,
1 million, 10 million subscribers.
It's been so hard.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Let's Play Amnesia: The Dark Room. Oh man, I wanted to go on to a different game other than another Amnesia custom story right after Loss of Light, but you people and your demands. Anyway.
When most people on a platform where it's hard enough just to get people to click a couple buttons to support your channel, he had mobilized a small clutch of followers to punch above his weight. Not because it was the smart move to do, and when faced with a
Right now!
without missing a day, including the 3 days. Venturing into uncommon ground, the series top 10 of all solo creators on the platform within Unfortunately, Markiplier had dealt with this type of emotional setback before. And just like last time, he leaned into the value he found in doubling down on his creative pursuits.
And doing the audio and the sound mixing. The only difference is skill level in terms of making a YouTube video to making a movie.
The message was clear. Making a movie isn't the hard part.
With respect, I just have this desire to make things.
The initial goal was 60 theaters. By the second week of the movie's release, it was over 4,000. On a budget of just over 4 million, the film would bring in over 50 million worldwide. And in true Markiplier fashion, it did so while offering theaters a 50-50 split on tickets, using the movie to organize a massive blood drive, and with the cast and crew all receiving bonuses based on the movie's performance. And perhaps the most fitting thing of all of this is that there was perhaps no one more surprised about the movie's incredible success than Markiplier himself.
It's been so hard to juggle.
Over the past several years, tactical shooters have exploded in popularity. Games like Escape from Tarkov and Squad provide hardcore, realistic situations for the gamers who are tired of dolphin diving and slide canceling. To put it simply, the tactical shooter genre has made a name for itself by being based around realism. Unfortunately though, I'd say that about 80% of these games are solely based around the multiplayer grind, meaning that if you don't play the game 24/7, or if you're like me and lack a stable internet connection, you're probably gonna have a bad time. One particular game seems to go against this mold though, Ready or Not. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, chances are that you're already really acquainted with this game, but for those of you who are unaware, Ready or Not is a SWAT simulator that takes you through a variety of different situations, ranging from active shooter encounters to Ruby Ridge-esque standoffs. It is a very dark game that touches upon topics that we seldom player in command of a 5-man SWAT team as they infiltrate crime scenes and arrest various suspects. Much like Ready or Not, SWAT 4 had a variety of different situations. However, most of these seem to be much more oriented towards traditional crime, rather than just random acts of violence or pedophiles. For instance, there are several cases where simple robberies or assaults rapidly escalate into hostage situations, which makes sense, right? Additionally, there are a variety of little things in these environments that help to build the game's immersion, such as infiltration vehicles, police perimeters, and victims' bodies actually lying around the crime scenes. One of my biggest pet peeves with Ready or Not is when you load into a mass shooting level and there is nobody to be seen outside. Realistically, these events have massive perimeters that are swarmed by medics, police officers, and members of the press. So when you load into a map that's supposed to be a realistic depiction
is dead, Bungie is going bankrupt, and I'm a raptor. That's right, as many of you, I also enjoy pretending to be a raptor in my spare time, especially on Taco Tuesdays. In any case, I absolutely love this graph. Boys, it is a great time to be a marathon hater. The collapse is one of the most enjoyable things in gaming that I have ever seen in my life. And let me tell you something, Beerus has nothing on this graph. Marathon, most likely, is gonna go under 10k. The matchmaking no longer functions properly, players hate it, and, well, there is absolutely not a single shred of hope in sight. Now, granted, this has been extra juicy for me because, I'm not gonna lie, boys, I'm gonna say something good about Marathon. I don't know if you're ready for this, but Marathon had some moments where it looked like it's actually, well, it's still not doing good, it's a disaster, but it did have some moments where it looked like it potentially has, at least a little bit of life in it, and this was one of those situations. I have to say, last week, starting from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even to Sunday, was not actually bad. It looked potential, but I have to say, I know I said that I'm gonna do the video of Marathon on Tuesday, but I'm not doing it. I'm doing it on Monday because this is too juicy to miss out on, okay, boys? Because listen, this peak right here of a measly 11.6k, this is not the Monday peak. No, this is Sunday. This is Sunday. Do you want me to show you what happened last Sunday and Monday? This was the last Monday's peak. Well, not actually, not even 14k. And this was Sunday, 16.5k, and then it dropped 2.5k. Oh, and as we talked about this, boys, previously, these drops are gonna get bigger and bigger until it levels out, which at this point potentially could be like 2-3k concurrent players playing Marathon. So, again, because Marathon previously lost 20% roughly from its Sunday to Monday peak. And this one, look at this. Oh my god, the Saturday to Sunday has been diabolic. From 14.5k to 11.6. That's 2k players. That is a chunk. That is a huge chunk that Marathon just lost. And now look at this. Look at this, boys. My favorite statistic in all of these graphs, okay? It's the classical 10 UTC, which is, for our American friends, that is 10 a.m. The literal start of Monday Fun Day. Yes. And it's 3.7k. 3.754. That's not a lot. Look at the Sunday. Look at the Sunday. 5.6. 5.6 versus 3.7. That is diabolical right there. That's a third. That is a third just lost right there. It is gonna be diabolical. Today is gonna be a disaster for Marathon. Now, granted, all of us knew this. And people are talking more about the disaster, which is Marathon, and there's no way to fix it. Bungie hired some person who's gonna lead the rejuvenation of Marathon, as we all know. And the most important part about that hiring position was, well, the choice of your gender that you chose. No, unironically. I mean, I hope someone who picked Two Spirits wins. I don't know what that is, but sounds funky and I like it, okay? Two Spirited. Woo! Obviously, no white man is winning that shit. Obviously, no one even remotely. Bro, if you're the wrong shade of brown, you're not fucking winning, boy. Woo-hoo. Bungie is gonna outdo themselves with the community manager revitalization project of Marathon. Trust me, boys, on that one. It's gonna be beautiful. In any case, a lot of people now are very actively talking. There's even GameGPU.com. The failure of the shooter Marathon may lead to the closure of Bungie Studios. People have been speculating this for a very long time. I have used Marathon shuts down, Bungie bankrupt, blah blah blah, all of these things multiple times. And this is, by the way, through asterisk. And the reason why this is, well, it's not going to happen, first of all. Bungie is not shutting down. Bungie is a subsidiary of daughter company of Sony at this point. Sony's not going to just let Bungie and its household name shut down. It still holds some weight, even though everything about it is, I mean, atrociously bad. I mean, like, seriously. It is a complete disaster. We are at the point where, on average, Destiny, the abandoned thing that Bungie threw away, is going to have more concurrent players than Marathon. But that doesn't matter. Marathon is not going to shut down, most likely. Even if it's left on 1K players, I think they're going to shut it down after a year or two, maybe. Maybe faster. You never know these things. Marathon is shutting down. But Bungie itself is not shutting down. Sony's obviously not going to let this slide, even though Bungie has lost them literally hundreds of millions of dollars at this point without pretty much any chance of recuperation, because the reality of Bungie is worse than the shutdown. They're going to soon start laying off people en masse. That's going to be the first thing that happens with Bungie, if you're wondering. I have been right about all of these things. This is just another thing to throw into the pile at this point for me. Because there is no other way. This is not how business finance functions. Marathon is losing money. Bungie has nothing. Bungie is currently just burning wads of cash because they hate money. Well, Sony loves companies that hate money, considering everything that Sony has done in the past month. So Marathon is no exception. But you see, you need to understand, Marathon, as I like to remind everyone, was supposed to replace Destiny, Bungie's big thing. And it was supposed to keep the lights in and make the company profitable and give them, clout and all of these things that millennials care about. And Marathon only scored 88,000 concurrent players in before some idiot in the comments says, but what about the consoles? The consoles are irrelevant, and in total they are less than probably 30% of the total players. 70+% have been officially stated by Bungie themselves. Or was it Sony? Anyway, someone stated officially that consoles literally represent none of the sales effectively. So, no one's on consoles. No one cares. Everyone's on Steam, that's just the way it is. So, this game was supposed to replace Destiny. Destiny 2 had a peak of 316,000 players. That's right. And this thing that couldn't even score 100,000 was supposed to replace it. Again, this week people are going to be making videos about the fact that Marathon, Bungie's diamond, is doing worse than Destiny, a quite literally abandoned game. And I'm not kidding about the abandoned part, by the way, for Destiny, because all of the resources from Destiny have been moved into Marathon. Because these idiots thought that these idiots thought that this is gonna sell and people are gonna love it. It looks like ass. I mean, there is no saving this thing. It just looks bad. It looks sad and it makes me feel icky inside and outside. So, people are gonna talk about this a lot, but don't worry, Bungie's not going anywhere, sadly. It's just gonna go through a corporate restructuring, which is, by the way, technically the official way that the companies effectively shut down nowadays. Because all of these companies are just gonna get bought up by some kind of Microsoft or Sony or some other large new conglomerate entity. And they're never going to shut down, but they're going to be restructured. And this has already happened. Marathon, This happened to Blizzard. All of these companies that we wished that would shut down, they effectively have failed because of corporate restructuring, because they got bought out by someone. And you don't buy someone because you think they're a failure. You buy someone because you think they can do better under you. Which definitely didn't fucking happen with Bungie. Man, Sony bought such garbage. It's insane. And obviously, this is a great moment for us because we are living, I will remind everyone, on the Concordian timeline. And this is my favorite timeline. It's very simple. We had Concord, the beginning of the end. Then we had Kaigwad Marathon, and we already talked, by the way, I think 2 days ago about Horizon Hunters Gathering, and if you don't know that one, woohoo, that's a doozy, boys. Trust in the system, boys. What can I say? Bungie is absolutely failing. Everyone's making fun of them. You know, this post by Brutus has 16k views, which is not technically a lot, by the way, not the trending thing, but this is pretty much the most trending thing that Marathon has seen in probably at least a month, because the hype about Marathon was always fake to begin with. And he says, keep stuffing your games with ugly women turning characters gay out of nowhere. And this is true, by the way, if you did not know. Osiris, a guy, and, you know, pretty much all of the established characters turned something else that they were never in the beginning. And adding a bunch of effeminate-looking men into your shooters. Yes, these things are obviously going to help Bungie. But you know what I have to say? Boys, at the end of the day, it's over for Bungie. They might as well, honestly, full send it at this point. They should hire Anita Sarkeesian. That would actually, I mean, it's not going to save Marathon. Nothing's going to save Marathon, let's be real. It's not going to save Bungie, but it would be a funny way to go out, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it can't get worse. Granted, it can't get better also. So, you know, just full send it for once. Come on, do the thing, Marathon. Do the thing. Come on, everyone wants to see something at least. Everyone wants to see at least something funny from Bungie. And I think hiring Anita to make the game better would be an absolute massive win. It would obviously own the chuds. I would feel owned, definitely. It would be great. Anyway, thanks for watching the linked video right now. It takes less than a second. And thank you for everyone who does. You greatly help out the channel. It does have an impact, so thank you. Have a nice day. Bye. Marathon is dead, Bungie is going bankrupt, and I'm a raptor. That's right. As many of you, I also enjoy pretending to be a raptor in my spare time, especially on Taco Tuesdays. In any case, I absolutely love this graph. Boys, it is a great time to be a marathon hater. The collapse is one of the most enjoyable things in gaming that I have ever seen in my life. And let me tell you something, Beerus has nothing on this graph. Marathon, most likely, is gonna go under 10k. The matchmaking no longer functions properly, players hate it, and, well, there is absolutely not a single shred of hope in sight. Now, granted, this has been extra juicy for me because, I'm not gonna lie, boys, I'm gonna say something good about Marathon. I don't know if you're ready for this, but Marathon had some moments where it looked like it's actually, well, it's still not doing good, it's a disaster, but it did have some moments where it looked like it potentially has, at least a little bit of life in it, and this was one of those situations. I have to say, last week, starting from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even to Sunday, was not actually bad. It looked potential, but I have to say, I know I said that I'm gonna do the video of Marathon on Tuesday, but I'm not doing it. I'm doing it on Monday because this is too juicy to miss out on, okay, boys? Because listen, this peak right here of a measly 11.6k, this is not the Monday peak. No. This is Sunday. This is Sunday. Do you want me to show you what happened last Sunday and Monday? This was the last Monday's peak. Well, not actually, not even 14k. And this was Sunday, 16.5k, and then it dropped 2.5k. Oh, and as we talked about this, boys, previously, these drops are gonna get bigger and bigger until it levels out, which at this point potentially could be like 2-3k concurrent players playing Marathon. So, again, because Marathon previously lost 20% roughly from its Sunday to Monday peak. And this one, look at this. Oh my god, the Saturday to Sunday has been diabolic. From 14.5k to 11.6. That's 2k players. That is a chunk. That is a huge chunk that Marathon just lost. And now look at this. Look at this, boys. My favorite statistic in all of these graphs, okay? It's the classical 10 UTC, which is, for our American friends, that is 10 a.m. The literal start of Monday Fun Day. Yes. And it's 3.7k. 3.754. That's not a lot. Look at the Sunday. Look at the Sunday. 5.6. 5.6 versus 3.7. That is diabolical right there. That's a third. That is a third just lost right there. It is gonna be diabolical. Today is gonna be a disaster for Marathon. Now, granted, all of us knew this. And people are talking more about the disaster, which is Marathon, and there's no way to fix it. Bungie hired some person who's gonna lead the rejuvenation of Marathon, as we all know. And the most important part about that hiring position was, well, the choice of your gender that you chose. No, unironically. I mean, I hope someone who picked Two Spirits wins. I don't know what that is, but sounds funky and I like it, okay? Two-spirited. Woo! Obviously, no white man is winning that shit. Obviously, no one even remotely. If you're the wrong shade of brown, you're not fucking winning, boy. Woo-hoo. Bungie is gonna outdo themselves with the community manager revitalization project of Marathon. Trust me, boys, on that one. It's gonna be beautiful. In any case, a lot of people now are very actively talking. There's even GameGPU.com. the failure of the shooter Marathon may lead to the closure of Bungie Studios. People have been speculating this for a very long time. I have used Marathon shuts down, Bungie bankrupt, blah blah blah, all of these things multiple times. And this is, by the way, through asterisk. And the reason why this is, well, it's not going to happen, first of all. Bungie is not shutting down. Bungie is a subsidiary of daughter company of Sony at this point. Sony's not going to just let Bungie and its household name shut down. It still holds some weight, even though everything about it is, I mean, atrociously bad. I mean, like, seriously. It is a complete disaster. We are at the point where, on average, Destiny, the abandoned thing that Bungie threw away, is going to have more concurrent players than Marathon. But that doesn't matter. Marathon is not going to shut down, most likely. Even if it's left on 1K players, I think they're going to shut it down after a year or two, maybe. Maybe faster. You never know these things. Marathon is shutting down. But Bungie itself is not shutting down. Sony's obviously not going to let this slide, even though Bungie has lost them literally hundreds of millions of dollars at this point without pretty much any chance of recuperation, because the reality of Bungie is worse than the shutdown. They're going to soon start laying off people en masse. That's going to be the first thing that happens with Bungie, if you're wondering. I have been right about all of these things. This is just another thing to throw into the pile at this point for me. Because there is no other way. This is not how business finance functions. Marathon is losing money. Bungie has nothing. Bungie is currently just burning wads of cash because they hate money. Well, Sony loves companies that hate money, considering everything that Sony has done in the past month. So Marathon is no exception. But you see, need to understand, Marathon, as I like to remind everyone, was supposed to replace Destiny, Bungie's big thing. And it was supposed to keep the lights in and make the company profitable and give them, clout and all of these things that millennials care about. And Marathon only scored 88,000 concurrent players in before some idiot in the comments says, but what about the consoles? The consoles are irrelevant, and in total they are less than probably 30% of the total players. 70+% have been officially stated by Bungie themselves, or was it Sony? Anyway, someone stated officially that consoles literally represent none of the sales effectively. So, no one's on consoles. No one cares. Everyone's on Steam, that's just the way it is. So, this game was supposed to replace Destiny. Destiny 2 had a peak of 316,000 players. That's right. And this thing that couldn't even score 100,000 was supposed to replace it. Again, this week people are going to be making videos about the fact that Marathon, Bungie's diamond, is doing worse than Destiny, a quite literally abandoned game. And I'm not kidding about the abandoned part, by the way, for Destiny, because all of the resources from Destiny have been moved into Marathon. Because these idiots thought that these idiots thought that this is gonna sell and people are gonna love it. It looks like ass. I mean, there is no saving this thing. It just looks bad. It looks sad, and it makes me feel icky inside and outside. So, people are gonna talk about this a lot, but don't worry, Bungie's not going anywhere, sadly. It's just gonna go through a corporate restructuring, which is, by the way, technically the official way that the companies effectively shut down nowadays. Because all of these companies are just gonna get bought up by some kind of Microsoft or Sony or some other large new conglomerate entity. And they're never going to shut down, but they're going to be restructured. And this has already happened to Marathon, this happened to Blizzard. All of these companies that we wished it would shut down, they effectively have failed because of corporate restructuring, because they got bought out by someone. And you don't buy someone because you think they're a failure. You buy someone because you think they can do better under you. Which definitely didn't fucking happen with Bungie. Man, Sony bought such garbage, it's insane. And obviously, this is a great moment for us because we are living, I will remind everyone, on the Concordian timeline. And this is my favorite timeline. It's very simple. We had Concord, the beginning of the end. Then we had Kaigwad Marathon, and we already talked, by the way, I think 2 days ago about Horizon Hunters Gathering, and if you don't know that one, woohoo, that's a doozy, boys. Trust in the system, boys. What can I say? Bungie is absolutely failing. Everyone's making fun of them. You know, this post by Brutus has 16k views, which is not technically a lot, by the way, not the trending thing, but this is pretty much the most trending thing that Marathon has seen in probably at least a month, because the hype about Marathon was always fake to begin with. And he says, keep stuffing your games with ugly women turning characters gay out of nowhere. And this is true, by the way, if you did not know. Osiris, a guy, and, you know, pretty much all of the established characters turned something else that they were never in the beginning. And adding a bunch of effeminate-looking men into your shooters. Yes, these things are obviously going to help Bungie. But you know what I have to say? You know what I have to say? Boys, at the end of the day, it's over for Bungie. They might as well, honestly, full send it at this point. They should hire Anita Sarkeesian. They should hire Anita Sarkeesian. That would actually... I mean, it's not going to save Marathon. Nothing's going to save Marathon, let's be real. It's not going to save Bungie, but it would be a funny way to go out, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it can't get worse. Granted, it can't get better also. So, you know, just full send it for once. Come on, do the thing, Marathon. Do the thing. Come on, everyone wants to see something at least. Everyone wants to see at least something funny from Bungie. And I think hiring Anita to make the game better would be an absolute massive win. It would obviously own the chuds. I would feel owned, definitely. It would be great. It would be great. Anyway, thanks for watching the linked video right now. It takes less than a second. And thank you for everyone who does. You greatly help out the channel. It does have an impact, so thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
At first, I was kind of upset that I was unable to review Black Backlash the day of, right? I wanted to get my review done Saturday.
You know.
All right, friends, it's T-Man, and guess where I am? At the Mandarin Bro, my favorite place, bro. Look, Mandarin Broski. I went to go get the sushi, bro, because I love the sushi. Is amazing. They always bring me my ice, my hot towel. I got my hot towel, some soup, and my sushi, bro. And this is for what's his name? Hercules X guy, whatever, the stalker dude, bro. Man, I feel sorry for you. You have to write me. See, here's the thing. My videos do the talking, bro. I don't have to write about stuff, what I do in my life, like you, and complain about things, see? I don't complain. I just come here and I just do my business, unlike you. See that? Yeah, man. Anyway, I just saw the latest video, bro. Greg Doucette, he was talking about some dude was talking about testosterone. He's selling testosterone to young kids. Ridiculous, bro. That shit doesn't work, man. It's fake. But like I said, if people want to buy that, go ahead. You know, maybe it works in 5 pounds. It gives you like 5 pounds of water or some shit. But that shit's fake, bro. Whatever. Just like a lot of other things people are doing is fake out there, but whatever, dude. Anyways, the sushi is amazing here. Come here, can eat as much as I want. I did a workout on the weekend, so I have to come here the rest of the week and have to build up my body now, you know? Because, bro, my legs are killing me in my upper body from yesterday, dude. Fuck me. I feel pain all over, but it's amazing pain. I love it because I know there's growth there. Anyways, yeah, so I figured I would make this video since I'm here. And don't be so jealous, or Hercules X guy, whatever. Go out, get your own. Go out, eat this. See, eat that. Amazing, right there. Boom. And you know, you'll be better for it. All right. I don't know. I'll see you in the next one. I'm gonna go get some shrimp after this, or something, or maybe even eat more of this stuff. Who knows? I'll see. Gotta love this place, bro. Man, dude. Amazing restaurant here. Look, I could go to Dragon Pearl and make a video there too. I could go to Dragon Pearl. Maybe I'll go this week there. I don't know. They have better stuff there, like lobsters, other seafood stuff. I've been there. I just haven't made videos there. See you later, dude. All right, so somebody was asking me about the cost of salmon. So fish is going up right now. This type of tuna is for some reason is a lot cheaper than the salmon. This isn't farm salmon, bro. This is Atlantic salmon. Farm salmon is a very light color. This is wild salmon. But this right now, if I go to like the market, it's about $14 or something a pound. So one piece, like what I just had, because I've been here eating a lot. That one whole piece right there was probably like $18. And that doesn't include this part. So a big chunk like this, a big chunk like that would cost me about, I think, $10 or something. Yeah, something like that, or $12, or yeah, about $12 or something. I can't remember. So something like that. So this one plate right here pays for my entire buffet, and I'll still eat more, right? But I'm just saying, like, it doesn't pay for me to go to the market and buy a piece, sit there and eat it. It pays for me to come here because I get variety, because I want to eat shrimp and I want steak as well. And I want this. I don't want just that. So if I was at the store, I would have to buy the whole piece and buy the whole piece of this. What if I don't finish it all, or whatever, vice versa? So I eat what I can here, and then I want to eat variety because I want shrimps and steak, bro. Get it? But whatever, you get the idea. It's economically, if you're trying to build your body, it's just economical for you to go to a buffet and find a good place where you have quality stuff and eat as much as you can. You're never going to make it by going to the market and buying stuff and trying to catch up with this breakdown in protein. Good luck with that, right? A lot of people try it, but it doesn't work for them. All right, man. I hope that helped. I got to go get some shrimp after this or something. All right, man, I'm back with the shrimp. I lost my train of thought. I was thinking about what I was going to say in the next one, but I forgot, man, what I was going to say now. Shit. Anyway, so, yeah, I'm so used to eating raw stuff now. It's hard to eat cooked stuff, you know? It's not that okay, I know what I want to say. Actually, it's like this. Look, I had a massive here's the thing about lifting, about damaging, the benefits of damaging your body, as opposed to just stretching or being adapted or exercise. You're replacing old cells with new cells. Old cells with new cells. So if you're replacing old cells with new cells, then you want to eat as much raw or natural food as possible. You want to stay away from seed oils, that's for sure. And any glycation, anything that's glycating, especially cooking. Now, probably here they cook the meat here, right? I mean, man, they put it on the grill for a couple of seconds, but it's usually very rare. Okay, very rare. The meat here is very rare. So the majority of the stuff that I eat here is pretty much raw. The sushi, whatever. So yeah, I mean, after a major, massive, damaging session, bro, you want to come in and you want to replace it with good cells. You don't want to eat fucking. You don't want to cook your food because it's glycated. You're ingesting broken DNA. You're just fucking yourself in the end, right? You're just aging the shit out of yourself, eating glycated food all the time. People don't realize that because what they don't know, it's not what they think they know, it's what they don't know that hurts them. So eating cooked food consistently, ingesting broken DNA, contributing to chronic disease and God knows what, after eventually down the line, shortening your lifespan. And looking just like a mummy, you know what I mean? But hey, like that's why the benefits of damaging and then you eating raw stuff, replacing those old cells with new cells and expanding the satellite cell pool has benefits. So expanding the pool, replacing old cells with new cells, and also hypertrophying at the same time. This is hypertrophy, the food. The other stuff, the remodeling that you're going through, that's a given. It would have gone through remodeling anyways, the repair and remodeling. So yeah, but you want to replace those old cells with good cells, bro. And you're expanding the satellite cell pool, which a lot of people are not really doing, you know what I mean? So, and they're eating bad food all constantly. Why would I come here, see, think about it, why would I come here and eat bad food? It would defeat the purpose, what I was trying to accomplish. The whole bit going there, damaging, and then coming here and eating what?
You want to go on a walk?
Bad food?
Let me get out of the car.
No, man. But like I said, everybody eats food, whatever
you
you do,
almost
it's up
caused
to
an
you.
earthquake,
Like
platonic
Herculean
friend.
X, he doesn't understand the videos. The food
How's your
videos are
boyfriend
just
doing, by
to
the
show
way?
you.
His job's kind of sus.
It's about
It's like
hypertrophy.
accounting
That's all
and
it is.
stuff.
But he
He
takes
needs
it
to count all
he takes
day.
it the wrong
Sounds
way,
pretty sus.
as if he's
But you-
upset
oh,
because
careful!
I'm eating
Wait, is
and
that a
he's
Hot
working.
Wheel?
No,
And
that's
he
the
tries to
car.
say,
So do I
he
look
tries
like
to
a
say,
skinny
I'm poor.
legend from there?
I'm poor
Is it
because
weird,
I'm
kind
eating?
of like
I
making
just don't
money
get it.
while you sleep
But
and being
he's-
rich and
he's-
having
he's-
cool friends
he's
and
working and
having
I'm
a boat
eating.
and stuff?
There's a
You are
difference.
pretty
Or
available
whatever.
emotionally
He can do
and
whatever the hell he wants,
physically,
man. I don't
and
give a
you
shit.
always pay for meals,
whatever.
even though we're
So
just
you do
friends.
what's best for you,
Hypothetically,
guy,
you have a
but
friend that
this is my
I
next
know
plate.
thought you
I'll
were the
probably gonna
hottest
get some
guy
steak
ever. Would
after
you kiss
this.
me? Don't answer that.
Maybe I'll come back for more sushi again. I don't know. See how I feel.
No.
You know, it
Well, it
depends,
should
right?
be.
Look, bro, I'm still gonna eat when I go
He's-
home. I'm still gonna
You
eat.
scared him off.
So yeah, because I'm gonna eat steak for a whole week. The next 5-6 days, I'm gonna be eating 6-7 days. I'm gonna be eating like this, like crazy. Otherwise, it would have been a waste to go
This
there.
is
to work out.
LFG Season 3, Episode 3, where I apologize, I'm kind of losing my voice again. But for the third time already on this season, in this episode, we've got another person leaving the show. But we'll get to that in a little bit later on. The episode begins with Matt Bloom saying there will be 3 matches today. He gives a tag match to Booker T, given his legendary tag experience. PJ Varsa and Serena Linton will be teamed up since they're friends, and it will help them get more comfortable in the ring. They will be taking on Mason Holiday and Layla Diggs, who will be the baby faces today, kind of switching their roles around since they are normally heels. Matt Bloom says Layla is advancing well, but as far as Mason goes,
brand new to the game. She doesn't understand
much of what we do, but because of her athleticism, she's picking that up quick. The least experienced of the group, so just keep your eye on her.
Then, for the first time since season 2, we get introduced again to Trill London. And I still think it's such a shame that they went ahead and released him. But throughout the course of this episode, you kind of get a bit of a hint at why they might have released him. And it might not be for the reason that you think, but we're about to find out. Either way, I like the guy, man. I liked the guy anyway. He's no longer at the company, of course. But we were out here keeping it Trill, man. Bloom says he's been influenced by Jeff Hardy, and Bubba's like,
you think? And that's all I see when he comes out. That's all I see when he comes out.
They want Trill to be the first Trill, not the second Jeff Hardy. They know on how much he's been injured and want to keep an eye on it. Meanwhile, his opponent Braxton Cole played football, graduated from an Ivy League. He's a smart kid who's a bit of an overthinker. His biggest challenge is learning to be fluid. And then Tate Wilder will be taking on Anthony Luke, now known as Cam Hendricks.
It's a big test for Anthony. The few times that he had the chance to perform in front of the NXT audience, he was Anthony Luke. Right. So he needs to be ready for coming out as Cam Hendricks to possible crickets. Right. Hope it doesn't affect him.
They want Hendricks to dial down his hokiness, or as I call it, being corny. They also introduce the spiritual successor to Jimmy Wang Yang and the son of Dash, Tate Wilder. He can get caught up in the flips and big moves sometimes, but they stress he needs to learn more of the bigger storytelling aspect. Both Wilder and Hendricks will be cutting promos tonight to test their skills. We then meet Braxton Cole, who in so many words just says he was all about football and then randomly got a DM about a tryout. He smashed the tryout after the opportunity fell in his lap.
Go do your things. If you want to throw like a tip of the cap, boom, fine. But give me Trill London.
It's done deal.
Cool.
Gotcha.
Bubba stressed that a tip to Jeff Hardy is fine, but he wants Trill to be Trill today. He talks to Braxton about implementing the fact he has a PhD into his character work.
But for me, I should put over my brain, my smarts, my intelligence to show that I'm outsmarting people in the ring.
Go out there and show us everything that you can do. Get the people chanting for Trill.
And you know, every time I was looking at Braxton Cole, I couldn't help but see someone who in the future is going to ruin a WrestleMania main event. I couldn't help but see. But jokes aside, I wasn't super convinced by Braxton in the early going. Like, he said he fell into this opportunity and it's kind of obvious. I mean, credit to the guy, he definitely has the look and the physique, but he's just not super convincing in his character yet. But hey, it's early to be fair to the guy. He does showcase some solid heel tactics as he traps Trill in the ring skirt and pulls on his dreads though. Meanwhile, as Trill hits a comeback sequence, both men end up botching a flapjack that nearly breaks Braxton's neck.
Now there's just a whole new crop of athletes that are coming in here and doing a great job. Are you kidding me?
That was that sing-along flapjack.
That was no flapjack.
No.
Booker criticizes Trill for messing up a springboard and notes he's not a flyer. And then he gathers further criticism because Booker is like, DDJ, your voice is awful. Oh my god. He gathers further criticism because Booker's like, this guy is clearly gassed. What the hell, man?
Did I just tell you? He's not a flyer.
Can't do your offense.
Just doing that. It's not that. This late in the match, he's not going to be able to do that kind of stuff.
But then, as the finish of this match is going down, someone in the crowd, as Trill hits a swanton bomb, it is dead silent, and someone's like, Jeff Hardy! Come on, guys.
He's gassed right now.
Bring it down.
Tell you that, see what I'm saying? He's gassed. You know what somebody said out there?
And the number one thing that we tried to do was get it away from him.
This poor guy. I mean, to be fair, you do a swanton bomb, your entire thing is kind of being like Jeff Hardy. What did you expect? But it's just the fact that was like the main thing that he was trying to avoid. And some guy in the crowd was like, ah, fuck it, I don't care. I'm the saboteur. Bubba gives him some honest advice about how the crowd momentum dies after you mess up your own move.
You're going to have to figure out what you're really, really good at when it comes to flying and keep it, and what you're not good at and get rid of it.
So Trill says he doesn't look at failing the move as failing. Every time he tries it is another rep for him.
Find that every time I go to the medical reports, his name's on there. He has to find a move set that allows him to stay healthy. And if he doesn't, how do you book a guy like that?
Booker says both guys are not breathing or taking that moment to get ready for the spot. We then move on to the women with Layla Diggs and the Mason Holiday intro. Her background is basically in track and field. She ran track at Howard University.